Omar Periu International Training Programs are unbelievable. And so is Omar Periu.
I gotta tell you, I really love what I do. There's no greater joy for me than to have someone come up to me and say, I was entertained and educated. You see, for me, it's important that someone gets something out of that program they can use immediately, not just in their business life, but in their personal life. I take great pride in what I do, in helping others, and that's what I want to do for your next convention or meeting. Now, I'll tell you a little story. When I went out to California, I wanted to become a recording artist. And I went out there and I started doing well in sales. And I wanted to become, have any of you ever tried to sing or anything like that? Music, recording, music, anybody? Okay, well they have this thing called a demo, and you do a demo to get a record contract. So I did this demo, and I went to all the record companies, and I asked them if they wanted to give me a record contract. And all of them sent me this form letter, said, nice voice, son, but. And I called my mom and dad, and I said, Mom, Dad, it looks like I'm never going to make it as a recording artist. I just got turned down by all these record companies. My dad says, you speak Spanish, why don't you do the records in Spanish? So I thought, So I do the tapes in Spanish, and I go back and I pass them out to all the international companies. And I pass them out, and I get this form letter, same form letter that was in English, but translated in Spanish. Nice voice, son, but in Spanish. So I called my dad, and I'm really bummed out. And I call him up, I go, Dad, it looks like I'm not going to make it, Dad. I'm sorry. I apologize. I studied my whole life. Sorry, I'm going to let you and Mom down. You know, Mom sang her whole life. She's a soprano, and she wanted me to make it because she never did. And so I'm sorry. And my dad says, son, you're making a lot of money now. You just bought your second health club. I said, yes, Dad. He says, why don't you buy a record company? So I go and I find out that there's a record company for sale. And I bought this record company that I brought my tapes to, one of them. So I'll never forget the day I walked into this wonderful Mexican gentleman, Arturo de la Parra. And I walked in, and he was the president of the company. And I walked in and I said, Arturo, he says, Omar, don't come here no more. You come here all the time, you're a nice boy, but I can't give you a record contract. I said, Arturo, please give me a record. I'll make you so much money. I promise you. I write really good music, great music, and I sing great. He said, I'm sorry, son. I said, Arturo, he said, son, I can't do anything for you, and some gentleman bought the company, and he's coming in this afternoon. See, I wanted him to take me for my talent, not because I bought the company. So I says, Arturo, you're going to have to give me a record contract. He says, how come? I says, I'm the gentleman that bought the company. He says, ay, Dios mío. I tell you that story because 1986, 87, and 88, I won Best Latin Male Vocalist and Entertainer of the Year in Latin America. I had platinum records. My records were #1, and now CDs. And I tell you that because a lot of us, we come out of school. Some of you have the privilege of going to school. And we have all these big dreams. We come out of school, and we're way up here. We have these big dreams, right? And we want to be and conquer the world and do all these great things. And then all of a sudden, you know, Omar, got to get a job. And you know, Omar, we got to keep working. And I got bills to pay. And you know, Omar, now I've got a family. And you know, Omar, and you know what happens? Now you stop living. You stop dreaming. And you're good, hard-working people. Don't you ever take no for an answer. Every one of you deserves every dream and goal that you deserve and you want in your life. Because the only one that's ever labeled no is you. The only one that's ever said no to you is yourself. And you should never accept the word no. Because every one of us has greatness in this room. There is not a man or a woman in this room that does not have greatness within them.
Omar Periu is a motivated teacher, a how-to expert, ready to empower your convention or meeting with valuable information your people can use immediately to achieve great results. He studies your product or service, your sales or sales management team, and your customer profile. His seminar is tailor-made for your particular situation so that maximum results can be achieved.
Before I speak in front of a group, I do my homework. I provide you with a questionnaire that you fill out and send back to me. Once I have that, I have conference calls with you. I always enjoy to have a brief meeting before I speak. Sometimes you wouldn't believe the little things that I get right before I might talk.
Omar Periu has been a featured speaker at thousands of major events with superstars Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, Harvey Mackay, Og Mandino, Jim Rohn, Terry Bradshaw, and Lou Holtz. Known as the leading sales management authority, Omar Periu is the motivational teacher that will make an impact on your company's sales. His seminars are tailor-made for your special situation so that maximum results will be achieved. Build a better self, team, and company with Omar's inspirational program. He knows what it takes to be successful and what it means to be a success. Omar is more than a motivator. His peers refer to him as the motivational teacher. Possessing an indefinable quality of magnetism, Omar brings audiences to their feet.
I'm going to share with you the top 3% salespeople are doing in this country today. Not 10 years ago, not 20 years ago, but today. How many of you would agree with me that today's marketplace has changed? That our customers are doing more due diligence. They're checking us out on the internet. They're comparing. That, would you agree with me that you can't use the old words that they've always used and slam dunk the customer with a bunch of closes? Today's selling is consultative selling, relationship selling, building relationships.
The terms dynamic, enthusiastic, and motivational all describe Omar Periu, a self-made millionaire by the age of 31.
So, how's business?
Unbelievable.
How's your children?
Unbelievable.
How's your manager?
Unbelievable.
Omar became the top sales professional in his field through hard work, determination, study, and his desire to succeed. Published in Chicken Soup for the Soul and Chicken Soup for the Entrepreneurial Soul, Omar Periu has now authored and released his new book, Investigative Selling. Omar has also recently formed Omar Periu International, a new and exciting corporation, which has already achieved overwhelming merit, respect, and success. With Omar's programs, you will receive excitement, commitment, and knowledge.
It's commonsensical, and it works.
Well, anytime I see Omar's name anywhere that's close by where I can get it, I'm going to make sure I'm there and all my staff is there.
See, I know that a lot of people see you standing up here and they say, he's probably had it made his whole life. His parents had money, right? He's got the clothes. He probably learned the material and just went out there and started doing it. Well, I want you to know that it wasn't like that for me. I was born in a foreign country. I was born in Cuba. And thank God my father hated communism and he loved this great country.
The average increase in income for a person attending an Omar Periu training seminar for the first time is 20%. After a 2 or 3 day training program, that figure skyrockets to an amazing 60%. What would a 60% income increase do for you and your team?
You see, my mom and dad always told me if you meet someone that's successful, ask them to have a cup of coffee with you. So he walks in and I run up to him and I go, "Hi, Mr. Murphy." He goes, "Hi." He's a real gentleman. You would all love him. I said, "How did you get so successful?" He says, "Why don't we have a seat, son, and have some coffee?" He sits down. He says, "What do you do here, son?" I said, "I'm in sales." "How are you doing?" I didn't know the word unbelievable yet. I said, "I'm not doing so hot." He says, "What's your average income?" I said, $147 a month. He says, "There's room for improvement." He told me to go see a man named Tom Hopkins, the nation's #1 sales trainer. He made me an offer I couldn't refuse. He says, "If you invest your last $155, I'll give you the books and tapes, How to Master the Art of Selling." And he kept his promise. I sat right where Scott's sitting. It was like someone turned a little light switch on in my head. Oh, you mean you don't push him into it? You don't talk him into it. There are tactics, strategies, phraseologies, fundamentals.
Possessing an indefinable quality of magnetism, Omar Periu is someone people never forget. Zig Ziglar sums up Omar's appeal like this. Omar Periu is a true success story. His teaching includes how-to principles that can help any person or company achieve greater success. You're in for a real treat.
It was great.
It was fantastic.
The seminar was unbelievable.
It was inspirational.
Excellent as always.
You must become an expert advisor, meaning you must know everything about your product, so when people talk to you, you are their consultant. Meaning if they pick up the phone and they think about real estate, they think your name. If they think about copiers, they think your name. These are the things that are going to get you to have your people say yes to you. The product knowledge they need. Everyone buys emotionally, and then they defend the purchase logically. But you've got to have the emotions. Step number one in a sales process, you must what? Number one, the word salespeople hate the most, prospecting. Prospecting, seeing the people. Some of us start reading doors. Some of us start looking at the weather. Some of us, you know, it's raining, nobody's going to be out today.
Having spoken to over 2/3 of the Fortune 500 companies in this country, and having personally trained over 1 million people, Omar is now available to motivate, train, teach, and inspire your organization.
Thank you for considering me as your speaker. I want to talk to you about why you should hire me. First of all, I live what I teach. You cannot transfer something to someone if you have not lived it. I have been a top producer, a manager, and an entrepreneur and business owner. I'm able to convey that in my talk. Secondly, I get results. I'm able to convey what you want to cover at that meeting and educate and entertain your people at the same time.